Please, if you would, welcome to the stage Intensive Manager here at Halcyon, Mercy Ariyawaran Susu.
Thank you for the applause, but really it should be for the fellows you're about to hear. It's a pleasure to see you all here today. I want to thank you all for coming out. As he said, my name is Mercy Ariyawaran Susu, and I am the Intensives Manager for the Future Builders cohort. The Future Builders program was designed to give particular access to a group of people that are often overlooked in the entrepreneurship space. I think we've all heard the stats, and that is simply that only 2% of the $330 billion that was allocated to venture capital raised in 2021 were raised by women. That is deplorable. Of that 2%, 1% went to Black and Latina female founders. The reality is that Black and Latina and non-binary founders continue to be denied access to the resources that make other founders successful. At Halcyon, we've made it our mission to change that narrative and create a space that enables these founders to thrive. That is why we launched the Future Builders program, and that is why we are excited to be a part of the entrepreneurial journeys of the founders that you're about to meet. We've all had those moments where we come across problems that seem insurmountable or that we've decided are normal because that's just how things are. We've all chosen to just live with it. Our founders have experienced the same. They encountered frustrating problems in health, fitness, education, workforce, and politics. The difference is they stayed frustrated, they stayed angry, they took action. In the pitches you'll soon hear, you'll see how they've taken their challenges and turned them into solutions. You'll hear them offer a way for you to join them in making those solutions the status quo, and I really hope you do. At Halcyon, we are committed to providing founders with the community space and access that they need to thrive as founders, and we are grateful to be joined by partners like Bank of America, MetLife Foundation, the Henry Luce Foundation, Amazon Web Services, and Baker Bots to make this possible. But before you hear from me, before I turn it over to them, because you don't need to hear from me anymore, I'd like to give an opportunity for you to hear from one of our friends, our partner and champion of this program, Mr. Sam Gothesman, Managing Director and Marketing Executive at Bank of America. Thank you.
Well, that is a tough act to follow. I have been in this room a lot of times. We have been working with Halcyon since the very beginning, and I always enjoy coming back here. I'm usually sitting and listening to really smart people tell me things I didn't know before. But today, we're here because we're excited to be part of Halcyon Ventures and the efforts to support innovative entrepreneurs like this group. And I can't wait to hear from all of you. From eliminating bias and improving accessibility in the job market to improving access to healthcare and enhancing civic engagement. This year's fellows remind us of the immense talent coming from every corner of our community. At Bank of America, we're dedicated to supporting the creation, the resiliency, and growth of small and minority-led businesses. CDFI partnerships, MDI partnerships, and equity investments like those Halcyon makes are a cornerstone to enabling young entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs like you to be successful. We have committed more than $430 million nationally as a bank to 136 funds providing capital to minority and women entrepreneurs, including 7 minority investment funds here in Metro DC. Last year, we provided over $500 million across the region in the Metro DC area to support broad-scale community development, small businesses, CDFI support, affordable housing, philanthropic giving, and a number of other things that would be way too long for me to get into. But I think you get the point. Bank of America is committed to being a very important local bank and local sponsor for all of the businesses and all of the entrepreneurs. Our commitment to innovation also underpins our partnership with the Tory Burch Foundation, inspiring the Tory Burch and Bank of America Capital Program to support women-owned and operated businesses, to foster economic independence and promote local economies through job creation and community revitalization. But as any entrepreneur will tell you, financing without know-how will only get you so far. That's why incubators like Halcyon and like Bank of America's Institute for Women's Entrepreneurship are so important, pairing innovators with expert guidance to gain the skills to pitch and lead successful business that improve our society. It's been so inspiring to learn about and from this leadership, and I look forward to seeing where they take us in the years to come. Thank you for letting me be part of this important event, and thank you from Bank of America and the wonderful partnership we've had with Halcyon all these years.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gothesman. And now I'd like to introduce our first fellow who will be speaking today. Please join me in giving a round of applause for a triple threat who is changing the landscape in sport and fitness for Muslim women and girls, Muna Mohammed.
Growing up, I fell in love with the game of basketball. My parents immigrated from Somalia for a better future for their children. I, like any other teenagers, did not listen to my parents. They told me sports wasn't for girls. My community told me sports wasn't for girls. I still didn't listen, so I decided to try out for basketball at a very young age and fall in love with the game. I became a semi-pro basketball player in Minneapolis, Minnesota, but soon I realized that playing the sport was the easy part, but continuing the sport was the hard part. I couldn't find activewear that was culturally inclusive, that was modest, and that made me align with who I am and continue to play the game. Hi, my name is Muna Mohammed. I'm the CEO and founder of Colsoni. I created Colsoni in a mission to create culturally inclusive activewear that's functional, that's style, and that aligns with the needs of Muslim women so that they can be physically active and play sports. Did you know 96.1% of Black Muslim women did not meet the physical activity guidelines of 60 minutes of moderate physical activity and sports? The reason why was clothing was the #1 barrier. So to eliminate this problem, in 2013, I was part of a very big research project that worked closely with 25 amazing young girls that were the designers, the researchers, the athletes. They put the idea together of creating their own inclusive activewear. In that time, I saw their eyes shine, and they were happy to create something of their own and became a voice of their community. Colsoni became a spark based on this research project. So before I get to that, if you're wondering, what is modest activewear? This usually entails more loose fit clothing, higher neckline, more full coverage, and for some Muslim women, we wear the hijab so that we can cover our hair. My solution was to work closely with my community members to co-create designs with them. We know that every Muslim woman has different styles, so to be inclusive, I created products that were size inclusive, extra small to 5XL, as well as versatile activewear tops and sports hijabs and sports shawls. What's really cool about sports hijabs and sports shawls is that they're made from repurposed fabric in that we don't waste the fabric left over from the tunics, and that's how we create our sports hijabs. How do I do this? I started out by partnering up with a local minority-owned business to create a storefront. Then I became online at www.colsoni.com. And then I do immersive pop-up experiences so that I can meet the community where they're at. I also work closely with small businesses, nonprofit organizations, and schools to create customized sports uniforms and sports hijabs. Local organization like Girls on the Run, that's also nationally, I work with them so that their runners can have sports hijabs that have the Girls on the Run logo so that they have a sense of belonging on the team. Similar, I worked with organizations like Lifetime to bring pop-up experiences at the gym. So, what are you wondering? Where is the market opportunity? Muslim women accounted for $44 billion in purchasing power in the US. Among that, women's activewear should rise to $269 billion by 2029. And similar, the modest fashion industry will grow to $402 billion by the next year. So, who are the competitors? We all know Nike, Adidas, they all came up with the sports hijab. But what they don't know is the needs of Muslim women are all vast. We have sports hijabs, full coverage, also at a very affordable price, because I believe that health and wellness should not be expensive to everyone. Similar, we are the only brand creating activewear for young girls. I created this business for Muslim women and by Muslim women. I'm also very, very committed to the community in that I keep them centered, from the production to the design to trying it, and also all the photographers all the beautiful models in the pictures are all folks from the community who are female athletes. I'm not just selling a product, but also doing community engagement through partnering up with organizations like REI to bring physical activity opportunities to the community. So I went in further. What is my modest activewear doing for folks? My customers said 93.7% of them reported an increase in participation because they had access to modest activewear. Similar, 94.2% of girls said that they were more confident because they had access to modest activewear. Don't mind me, this is Nadia, 9-year-old, verbatim, I will read what she said. They were nice. It felt really comfortable to be like modest, like be able to be like the other kids on the court and not be judged of what we are wearing, instead how we are playing, basically. So it was nice feeling the same way as other kids did. What it did for Nadia, it gave her a sense of belonging. She was able to play the game and be who she was. So who am I? My name is Muna Mohammed. I'm the CEO and founder of Colsoni. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I got my master's in kinesiology at the U of M with an emphasis in behavioral aspects of physical activity. Similar, I have 7 years of experience in designing community-based research, specifically among modest and culturally sensitive activewear. I'm also a semi-pro basketball player. I know I don't look like I coached basketball for 11 years, but I started very young, but I've coached basketball for 11 years in Minneapolis. Similar, I worked in the social impact department at the Minnesota Timberwolves and Lynx. So, you are here today. In my language, Colsoni means confidence. So please join me in giving the gift of confidence by spreading my mission, partnering me up with strategic partners in production, marketing, and also advising. So I thank you so much for listening to my speech, and let's connect. Thank you. Next, we have all the way from LA, Toshe, the founder and CEO of You Include, who's utilizing AI to make the workforce more diverse.
All right. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Tosha. I am the co-founder of You Include, and we are an augmented writing platform for inclusive writing with an immediate focus on eliminating bias in recruitment material. So, my passion for You Include is driven both by my experience with leading intern recruitment at Disney and by my personal experiences in the workplace. At Disney, we were getting very few underrepresented candidates for our roles. And I knew that there was something about the way we were wording our job descriptions that had to explain why one of the most globally renowned companies was not getting applicants from certain demographics. And as the only Black person in my finance and strategy organization of over 50, I became really motivated by my desire to increase workplace diversity. Many people don't know that language, specifically bias and exclusionary terms, are a major yet overlooked contributor to a lack of diversity in the workplace. The language we use can deter underrepresented applicants from applying for roles and perpetuate institutional inequity. For example, research studies have found that women are less likely to apply for roles if the job ad is filled with masculine coded language. Our own research studies have found that BIPOC individuals are 1.5 times less likely to apply for roles if the job ad is filled with certain bias and exclusionary themes. To top it off, the business implications are vast. Job ads that contain bias receive 30% fewer applicants. They increase recruitment costs by 29% and increase time to hire by 2 weeks. So, in case you didn't recognize the magnitude of what I just said, let me summarize it for you. Companies will see an increase in the volume, quality, and demographic mix of their applicant pools, and a reduction in time to hire and recruitment costs just by changing a few words in their job descriptions. YouInclude addresses this severely overlooked issue by creating our product, which is a text editor that combines scientific research and machine learning to take the guesswork out of being unbiased. Our product identifies every instance of age, disability, gender, and racial bias in recruitment material. It provides the user with a score which communicates how inclusive their content is and how likely it is to appeal to candidates. It educates them on the impact the words that are being highlighted may have on job seekers, and provides them with suggestions on words to replace biased and exclusionary terms with. Finally, it gives them tips on how to infuse inclusive themes into their job ads. So we are the only product in the market that conducts psychological research to support our language recommendations, and we are the only product that takes on an educational and instructive approach. With a 95% retention rate, 13 unique industries, and 8 countries represented in our current customer base, YouInclude is growing quickly and providing exceptional product experience in the process. We have recruiters from Cornell, SC Johnson, and a number of industry-leading companies and growth stage startups benefiting from our product. Now, we're starting off as a product that identifies and eliminates bias in recruitment material. But our overall goal and vision is to become the premier platform for all things inclusive writing across domains, such as marketing and healthcare education. My 2 co-founders and I are supported by our advisors, including Danielle Gaucher, who wrote the research paper that gave rise to the entire anti-bias tech industry. All of us are passionately working towards our immediate mission, which is for underrepresented applicants to be fully represented in the workplace. We are raising $1.2 million in funding, and this will be deployed to improve the product experience for our current customers. We will also hire marketing and sales experts to increase customer acquisition. And we will be updating our AI to create more sophisticated and predictive features. Thank you. Please join me in welcoming 2 absolutely incredible founders, Janet and Ore, founders of Moremi, and they are changing the trajectory of vaginal health.
Vagina is that intimate part of the female anatomy, often called out as if it were a person. While perhaps is because it does respond when its natural environment has been altered or exposed to discomfort. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Janet Akonde-Dokun,
And I'm Dr. Ore Adedoyin.
and we are the co-founders of Moremi, a female-owned company offering solutions to vaginal health and wellness. Our flagship products are offering solutions to two of the most common vaginal conditions that are experienced by women. And those two are urinary tract infection, or I'll just call it UTI, and vaginal atrophy. And this is why. 10% of women the age of 15 and above are experiencing the critical conditions of UTI in a year, in the US alone. That translates to 5.2 million women above the age of 15 each year experiencing these symptoms. Now, for vaginal atrophy, it is projected that 1.1 billion women worldwide will hit menopause by the year 2025. Of these, 50% are currently experiencing the critical conditions of vaginal atrophy. Now, I'm looking at your faces and seeing if you're wondering, what is vaginal atrophy? I'm glad you asked. Vaginal atrophy is the vagina's response to the decline in estrogen once a woman hits menopause. And this is followed by symptoms such as chronic vaginal burning, itching, irritation, and even painful sex. What makes this even more alarming is the fact that women are actually hitting menopause much earlier, as early as 35 years old. And this represents, I'm sure you will agree, a significant amount of women in the workforce in their prime experiencing these vaginal conditions, adversely impacting their quality of life. So we, as advocates for vaginal health and wellness, are excited about the fact that lately, conditions of vaginal health has been getting a lot of talk amongst the trusted major news outlets, including people like Michelle Obama, giving a voice to these conditions that women tend to suffer in silence over unnecessarily. And it's further removing the stigma attached to these conditions that are just a fact of life. As well, it's empowering women to seek safe and effective treatment options that Moremi is poised to launch.
So our company, Moremi, offers a suite of scientifically designed intimate care solutions for all women across all their course of life, from puberty all the way through menopause. So we have a patent-pending platform technology that's based on a proprietary combination of all natural plant-based bioactives that work synergistically to enhance vaginal health. So to satisfy the needs of our consumers, we have a dual-pronged approach. Our over-the-counter offerings, which is part of our suite of products, as listed up there, are available to all our consumers, and they are based on an innovative combination of our bioactives. Our flagship prescription product is a vaginal suppository to treat the symptoms of vaginal atrophy experienced by women who are postmenopausal. It has 3 key ingredients that work synergistically to repair the vaginal tissues, thus enhancing its thickness. It helps to alleviate the symptoms of vaginal dryness by promoting hydration. And it also helps to restore the vaginal pH balance, thus reducing the risk of recurrent urinary tract infections. There is no commercially marketed product that contains these 3 ingredients.
The serviceable obtainable market for vaginal atrophy stands at a staggering height of $9.9 billion, $9 billion. And for UTI, it is $1 billion. Now, in terms of the competitive landscape, the urinary, our product that actually offers solutions to urinary tract infection checks off all the boxes in terms of offering a preventative approach compared to the standard of care. Now, for our prescription product, which is going to address vaginal atrophy, it also checks off all the boxes in terms of offering a multifunctional approach to actually target the 3 key symptoms affecting women suffering from vaginal atrophy. Now, For our prescription product addressing vaginal atrophy, our go-to-market strategy is to license our technology to the big pharma. Now, for our over-the-counter products, which will be addressing the urinary tract infection conditions, our go-to-market strategy is to go the B2B as well as the B2C route.
So, over the next 12 to 18 months, as we progress on product development and testing, we seek to close out our initial pre-seed round of $1 million because we plan to target and position ourselves for launch in mid-2024. So our core team is composed of subject matter experts along the entire continuum of the drug development pathway. In addition, we have clinicians, regulatory strategists, as well as coaches and mentors from the National Institutes of Health who help provide insight into our product development and help us with our design and customer acquisition. And together, we form a team that's passionate about providing innovative intimate care solutions to the vaginal needs of all women through the courses of their lives. Thank you very much for listening, and would love to connect and have a further conversations.
And at this time, we'd like to invite on stage a woman that's just so filled with wisdom. She's the founder of North Star, Miss Kim Riley.
Hello, my name is Kim Riley, and I'm the founder of North Star, the Indeed.com for youth with developmental disabilities searching for employment and post-secondary opportunities. And this is my son, Kendall. And Kendall, as you can see, was a proud high school graduate. He was one of 344,000 youth who finish high school every year. And like many of them, he finished with no employment opportunities lined up and no prospects. And that's because teachers are not equipped to do this work. Teachers are trained for curriculum, they're trained in compliance, but they are not trained in taking our children to life after high school when they have a disability. And when this happens, it leads to very high unemployment rates. In 2019, only 19% of people with a disability were employed, and that's compared to 66% of the rest of the population. And when this happens, when these young people are not transitioned properly, we as a society literally pay the price. When it comes to Medicaid billing alone, Americans with intellectual development disabilities are only 1% of the Medicaid pie, but they account for 10% of total spending. In 2008, that total cost was $34 billion. And this slide gives you that whole Mission Impossible vibe, right? It feels so seedy. And that's what it feels like if you're trying to understand the landscape, what options are available. You feel like you need a secret knock and a secret password because there is no central database or hub of reliable, up-to-date information. It is literally a word-of-mouth system. So your ability to make sure your child is successful is based on your network. And that's where North Star comes in. North Star is a web-based college and career navigation platform. It is the one-stop shop solution that we desperately need. It allows users to search according to their specific needs. So let's say, for example, a mom is looking for a program that has trained adults who can support her child who has behavior issues or sensory issues. Of course, we all need to be able to search according to location, so you can search by zip code. And then finally, the key piece, it definitely connects you to your benefits package. Just like when we're preparing youth for college, we have to include FAFSA. Benefits are to youth with disability what FAFSA is for college-bound students. And here is a prototype that I self-funded. And as you can see, very easy to navigate, unlike the current murky system. In this case, a mom is searching for a program where they have adults who will administer meds for her child. And when she types in her zip code, to the right, she gets a customized list of options that match the criteria that she selected. This, my friends, is the North Star difference. And our market size, currently, when you're talking about middle and high school youth, our target group, they're about 3 million in our classrooms right now. Our plan is to pursue and receive SBIR funding. And that would, in turn, we would take that current clickable prototype that we have and transform that into a searchable MVP. We would begin in Kansas City, home of the Chiefs, where I'm from. Okay, it's definitely Chiefs. We would pilot in Kansas City, and then we would expand statewide. We would take the feedback from those pilots, and then we would build our final product, and then we would, of course, launch nationwide. And when you look at our competition, there are so many different job boards for this population. And most of them, they go for the low-hanging fruits, the ones who need the least amount of supports, who are the ones who are going to be successful anyway, right? But North Star is the most comprehensive solution. Not only do we talk about employment opportunities, but we include college opportunities. We also include benefits. And we serve youth regardless of ability. We do not discriminate. We are an equity-based model. And our revenue model is definitely institutional. Our plan is to sell to school districts. Specifically, we want to partner with ed tech companies that have existing college and career platforms, and then be that sweet spot that they need. We have a brilliant team. I have more than 20 years of disability leadership experience. We also have a mixture of ed tech, we have tech, we have disabilities, and one of our advisors is SBIR funded, and she's also an SBIR reviewer and has agreed to coach me through the process. So we are in very good hands. We're asking for $75,000 to get us SBIR ready and to also help us with product development. Part of the SBIR application process is that you have to have a commercialization plan, and so this would get us on track. And I just want to thank you all for learning about North Star. We invite you to join us on this journey and help these deserving youth to find their North Star. Thank you. And it is my pleasure to pass the mic to my wonderful colleague, Precious, who will give us information about her wonderful, innovative housing solution.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Precious Price, and I am the founder of Landdrift. We are an education technology platform on a mission to help homeowners of color increase their financial flexibility through leveraging their excess land. It is no secret that we are currently in the middle of a national, if not global, housing crisis that has caused a lack of affordability in home prices, a lack of availability in home choices, and a lack of attainability in simply being able to find enough housing. Over the last 5 years, backyard homes and guest suites have become increasingly popular. These are also known as accessory dwelling units, or ADUs. Many cities are adopting this model in an effort to help offset the housing crisis. However, they are using ADUs, and with these ADUs, for the sake of this presentation, we're actually going to be referring to ADUs as tiny homes. And these tiny homes are growing at a rate of 9% annually, or 100,000 homes per year. These homes not only help to offset the housing crisis, but they also allow homeowners to build wealth. But what's interesting is that though we know this housing crisis disproportionately affects communities of color in terms of displacement as well as overall housing instability, the adoption rate for this specific model is low due to a gap in information as well as capital. Simply put, these communities typically lack the financial and technical assistance needed to adopt this model. This model has allowed their counterparts to build wealth through increased property values, also earn additional income, and of course, house vulnerable family members. So how do we equip this population in these communities of color with the resources, the education, the information, and the connections needed to actually adopt this model and tap into the value of their excess land? That answer is Landdrift. Landdrift is a learning platform that trains and supports homeowners of color through the process of their first tiny house build. We provide them with easy to understand zoning information, suggested ADU and design models, equitable financing options, as well as access to licensed and experienced contractors. When we educate this population, we are striking a sweet balance between capital gain and social good, meaning that not only are we allowing these communities of color to create economic mobility opportunities, but we are also helping to alleviate the nearly 4 million households here in the US that are currently experiencing housing insecurity. Currently, there is no other product like this on the market, so there isn't necessarily a competitive landscape. However, there are hundreds of companies that currently exist that not only build, but also market to single-family homeowners in order to put a backyard home or guest suite on their lot. So we like to think that there is, this illustrates a bit of demand. However, the difference with Landdrift is that we are targeting homeowners of color, and not only do we help them to obtain the actual structure, but we also connect them to the tools and educational resources that they need to eventually become socially conscious real estate investors in the future and actually repeat this process. We operate on a freemium business model for our learners as well as our potential users, and our revenue is supplemented by referral payments from our building, manufacturing, as well as financing partners. To date, we've been able to build a growing, engaged online community of nearly 15,000 people. This started 3 years ago when I produced Going Tiny, a docuseries, a popular docuseries at that, that covers my own personal experience of placing my very first tiny house in my own backyard. When we did this, we were featured not only in Tiny Home Tours, but also CNBC as well. And currently, we are offering home consultations or homeowner consultations that help them to connect to the financing as well as zoning information that they need for a flat fee. As we continue to progress and move forward, our hope is that we'll eventually become that all-in-one software solution for homeowners of color to be able to begin building generational wealth through this unique form of house hacking. I am a solo founder, and I have a deep experience within business as well as marketing strategy. I also have a previous work experience within management, technology, and social impact consulting. And luckily for us, we have been able to be featured in the most recent TEDx Atlanta showcase to actually amplify the premise of what Landdrift is based on. To date, we've been supported by a number of organizations, whether financial or otherwise, that have allowed us to get to this point now. And currently, we also have one strategic advisor within the public policy space as well. So our ask today is for additional strategic advisors as well as like-minded angel investors that are in the that are in the financing space as well as the construction space. And we're actually specifically looking for relationships with local credit unions as well as CDFIs to actually help connect these homeowners of color to additional financing opportunities that they can leverage to begin a project such as this. So we are looking for those funding opportunities, but regardless of your background, we would love for you to join us. You can pull out your phones right now and scan this QR code to learn more about Landrift, in addition to actually seeing that tiny home tour and complete docuseries that I mentioned earlier. If you'd like to learn more, you can come see me in the back, or you can contact us at contact@landrift.io. Thank you. Thank you. So I would now like to introduce my colleague Rocio, who is working on the BLAST app for Latinx bilingual children.
Congrats. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Rocio Raña, and let me get this here. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Langinov, and we are developing BLAST, an app for Latinx bilinguals. And I'm starting this presentation with a picture of Bad Bunny from last Sunday's televised Grammy ceremony. Bad Bunny is the world's most streamed artist right now, and he also only sings in Spanish. And the reason why I chose this picture is because the captioning there closely mirrors the linguistic and cultural erasure that Latinx bilingual children faced on a daily basis at schools in the US. Schools here don't really care if these kids speak other languages or if they can read, write, or do math in a language other than English. All they care about is that they speak non-English at home and that they may not be able to speak English at school. This, I guess, assimilationist perspective causes many challenges for Latinx bilingual children, their families, and I know that I guess, on a personally, because I am the mom of 3 Latinx bilinguals who were born in the US and grew up speaking Spanish at home. And my family did face many challenges, and my kids are not alone. Actually, 25% of school-age children in the US speak Spanish at home. That's 1 in 4 kids whose families struggle, again, on a daily basis because of the lack of bilingual tools to properly measure their language and literacy development. And the lack of tools causes delays in their education with misplacements in English as a second language programs, and also misplacements in special ed. It also causes educational inequity for bilingual and English learning children, because we are asking bilingual children to use educational materials that were actually not developed for them, but developed for monolingual children. So to address these issues, we developed the BLAST mobile app, which is a child-friendly and fully automated bilingual assessment in Spanish and English, aligned to literacy standards. BLAST helps elementary school principals make informed placement and instructional decisions, measure language and literacy growth, and also helps them maintain bilingual skills. What we know is that based on current demographic trends, by 2060, it's going to be 50% of school-age children who are going to be speaking Spanish at home. So this is the future of our nation. So we need to invest in materials for these kids right now. With the BLAST app, we've seen improvements of up to 10% in language and literacy development from one assessment period to the next, and up to 20% for the whole academic year. And because we think that, we know that kindergarten, first grade, and second grade are key years for literacy development, we believe that with the BLAST process, we can really have a positive impact on the Latinx community by reducing the number of ESL and special ed misplacements, Also reducing the length of time that children spend in English as a second language programs, and as a consequence, improving high school graduation rates for our community. Our project has been validated with grants from the National Science Foundation, New Schools Venture Fund, and also the Gates Foundation. So the market size for an app such as BLAST is $5.7 billion, and our target market is $153 million. The BLAST app is already being used by 600 kids in US schools, and we are on track to obtaining a revenue of $15 million in 5 years from now. I'm Rocio Raña. I have a PhD in linguistics, and I specialize in bilingual literacy and bilingual assessments. And my co-founder, Dr. Sunia Kao, she's a speech and artificial intelligence expert. And because we really want to put the BLAST app in the hands of more kids and really have an impact on the future of our nation, we are raising a pre-seed round of $1 million that we will devote to business development and to scaling up our product. Thank you so much for listening. And now I'm going to introduce Prudence and Ashley, who are revolutionizing the future of education, and especially for teachers.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Prudence Minton.
Good afternoon. I'm Ashley Pichardo.
And we're co-founders of the Ikemba Educational Partners. And we're part of a team of 5 educators with over 20 years of experience from pre-K to higher education. Our mission is to close the equity gap in education by building a community of culturally responsive educators. So the vision for our platform began during the summer of 2020, when our country was just experiencing such social and political unrest. And we really wanted to engage our middle school scholars, our students, in these critical conversations about what was just going on in the world. And so we began to Google and look online, trying to find lesson plans that we could use in the classroom. But it was hard. To be honest, we just couldn't find anything of high quality. So that led us to this question. Where can educators find resources that reflect their students' identities and open their eyes to the broader world? And so we discovered 2 very clear problems. Problem number 1, when you mention the term culturally responsive teaching, it's like an elephant in the room. And really, because it just means different things to different people. Problem number 2, there are amazing educators out there producing high-quality lessons. They're just working in silos. Their lesson plans aren't stored in one central location where teachers can easily access this information for their classroom. So, to address the very first problem, we wanted to clearly define culturally responsive sustaining education. For short, we'll refer to it as CRSE. So let's take the time to do that for you. It means to empower and celebrate voices, perspectives, and contributions, all while building and developing shared understandings, new skills and applications, and lines of inquiry. And research has shown when schools are hyper-focused on this, on their lesson plans and their curriculum, they will see an increase in high school graduation rates, attendance rates, college readiness, but most importantly, the students are going to be so excited to go to class because they see themselves in the curriculum. So our solution, the Ikemba edX platform. So if we establish a digital marketplace where educators can sell and buy high-quality K-12 products, all aligned to our definition of CRSE, then we equip our partners to engage students as empowered advocates for themselves and others.
The Ikemba edX platform is an online marketplace where teachers can buy and sell culturally responsive materials. So let's walk through the seller and buyer experience. The main goal of the seller is to be able to create supplemental income and share their passion for CRSE. So a typical seller is Miss HD here. She's a 7th grade English teacher with 8 years of experience and teaches in the tri-state area. And she has a deep passion to ensure that the materials that she brings into her classroom are a reflection of her students. Miss HD here is also a fellow from our first cohort of the Ikemba CRC Fellowship, where we have a rigorous application process to select K through 12 educators. We train and support educators to sell high-quality original products that are aligned with the CRC tenets. And we do all of this by building a community of culturally responsive educators. By year end, our goal is to have 100 fellows, and our next cohort happens next month. And so now let's transition to the buyer's experience. Our target audience are K through 12, pre-K through 12 educators, along with school districts. And the goal of the buyer is to save time and gain access to ready-made CRSC-aligned materials. And so how does the Ikemba edX platform meet this goal? Well, we have original K through 12 classroom materials curated by our Ikemba fellows, our sellers. We have a unique filtering system on the key CRC tenets. We also have videos from our fellows that not only share what their products are, but how to use them. And then lastly, we have feedback mechanisms to be able to share the classroom impact. So teachers buying supplemental materials for their classrooms is already a multi-billion-dollar industry. And the Ikemba edX platform sets itself apart by focusing on the CRSC tenets and having quality assurance of the materials on their platform through our Ikemba CRSC Fellowship. And to just make this point dramatically clearer, there was a study conducted to see already what's happening in the landscape of the supplemental materials, to see if they're already culturally diverse and inclusive. And we found that when our top competitor, Teachers Pay Teachers, was audited, that 79% of the materials and the authors on their platform were not culturally diverse. And this just shows the imperative need of the Ikemba edX platform and how it's going to have a pivotal impact on the education space.
So we are seeking $250,000 to continue to grow and expand our Ikemba Fellowship. Again, that is to ensure that we find sellers to populate our marketplace with high-quality products. And so we'll use those funds to continue with operations, development, and marketing. We're also seeking strategic partnership to help us with the Ikemba branding. So we'd like to leave you with this quote from Gloria Ladson-Billings. Culturally responsive teaching is an approach that empowers students intellectually, socially, emotionally, and politically. How would this strengthen the nation? We believe it's with the Ikemba edX platform.
So we thank you and we invite you to come visit us back. And if you'd like to follow us on our social media, please bring out your phones and to follow us. And we welcome you and we're excited to meet you.
So it is now my pleasure and honor to introduce Ebony, AKA the Quiet Storm, who's revolutionizing the world of policing.
I'd like to tell you about my brother. He's the coolest, calmest guy ever. He literally cannot be shaken. We were riding in Atlanta one night, going to hang out as siblings do. He's driving the car, music's playing, it's all good. All of a sudden, he taps his pockets and says, "Ebony, I don't have my ID." I was like, cool, no problem. You know, I'll drive, I'll buy the drinks, it's totally fine. He said, "No, you don't understand. I can't be out here without my ID." And I looked at him and I looked in his eyes and I saw the terror in his eyes at the idea of being stopped without his ID and not being seen as a human being who had made a mistake, but as a threat who stood the chance of being killed. And I had a problem with that. My name is Ebony Green. I'm the founder of Easy Police Training. We create systems that promote joy and peaceful interactions between police officers and the communities that they serve. Only 26% of Americans have complete trust that the law enforcement agencies serving their communities have their best interest in mind. Obviously, this is a global issue. France, India, UK, Greece. Did I say Italy already? In these places, refugees, immigrants, and people of color have a shared distrust that the law enforcement agencies serving their communities don't see them as human beings, as equal, and they stand a threat every time they leave the house. That's a problem we can solve. We know the costs related to police misconduct. We know the costs related to accidental death or even purposeful death during routine interactions. But have we counted the cost of the loss of peace in everyday life? Have we counted the cost of the loss of joy of young women and men who are prematurely prepared by their parents to interact with law enforcement officers in a way that indicates that they are not threats? I believe that when we create opportunities for training on both sides of this issue, for both police officers and the communities they serve, who have come into agreement and say, hey, these are the things that need to be trained upon on both sides, so everyone sees each other as a human being doing a thing on a day, we change the opportunity for chaos in the interaction to an opportunity for peace. We change the opportunity for confusion, which could lead to death, to opportunity for shared knowledge. We know that there's no shortage of information regarding the work that it takes and the work that can be done to build trust between community members and the law enforcement agencies that serve those communities. That work is incredible. Where is the technical platform that moves that work into an easily accessible product that communities across the country and around the world can adopt to promote safety, promote joy, and promote peace? And then how does that impact our world? We built an app, or we built a product that solves for trust, that pushes trust to the forefront of engagement between law enforcement agencies and the communities they serve. Since 2017, we've worked with multiple police chiefs to build engagement opportunities that solve for a lack of trust, that solve for violated trust. As we move forward, what we want to do is raise the standard for engagement. What if every time a law enforcement officer engaged with a community member, they were already on the same page, everybody knew what was supposed to happen? How would that impact the level of trust that they had as they leave the house? How would that impact their level of joy as they move through their day? And how would that impact their level of peace as they move through their day? Those are the things that we want to solve for, but we can absolutely solve for trust by tracking it in real time through these interactions. I've spent the last 23 years developing solutions for some incredible firms, solving some incredible problems. For this particular product, I'm joined by some incredible people, including a 25-year police veteran who spent 15 of those 25 years developing training curriculum for a large urban police department. My friend, Dr. Travis Nunnally, has built several technical platforms, including some that have been sold to organizations like Google and PayPal. We have a strong team and are able to build a strong product. We know that there are 18,000 law enforcement agencies across the country. We're just talking about the nation right now. Of those law enforcement agencies, they have $100,000 per police officer to spend on training. At our price point of $325,000 per training, our total addressable market is $5.85 billion. The aspect of that market that we want to obtain is $120 million. We're seeking a team of advisors to help us navigate this landscape. We want to meet subject matter experts. We want to meet people who have done the research and can help us leverage that research as we continue to develop this product. We're also looking for angel investors who will help us to scale this effort across the country and frankly around the world. For my brother and I, we say thank you. And now, And now I would like to introduce my friend Arabia, who is going to do an incredible job of explaining how she is changing the face in the world of voting.
Oh. Hi, I'm Arabia. I'm a creative designer, techie, and the founder of Pogo, and we are informing the next generation of politics. Raise your hand if you ever rushed to your voting site on election day just to have no idea who's on your ballot. Same. When I was a sophomore in college, I was so eager to vote. I requested my absentee ballot early and then began my research. You can imagine how overwhelmed I was when my ballot arrived the day before elections. I couldn't afford overnight shipping, and I realized I neglected to research the rest of the ballot. And I realized in that mailroom that I was not alone. Only 62.8% of the total US voter population voted in the 2020 elections, and even less make informed voting decisions. So I decided after graduating college with my bachelor's in computer science and studio art to pursue user experience design. I conducted 2 series of research studies where I spoke to politicians as well as voters, and I found that young voters struggle to make informed voting decisions due to the lack of time, access to a personalized voter guide or a research process. Political information is often filled with jargon and bias, and there's no place for us to store our voting decisions. For politicians and political organizations, they struggle to reach young voters. Due to outdated voter practices, young voters often change their addresses and their phone numbers. And there's a lot of wrong assumptions when it comes to youth voter engagement. So that's where our solution comes in. Pogo will create a culture around voting that caters to millennials and Gen Z's archetypes. We are a nonpartisan, personalized voter guide that streamlines election research and creates an all-in-one hub for your voting information. Currently, at our MVP stage, voters can sign up in 3 easy steps. First, you make an account and input your demographic information. Then you outline your voting information. And then lastly, you take a quick sign-up survey where you outline your stances and care on popular issues. Pogo's algorithm then matches you with candidates on your ballot who most closely align to your views and values. You could also take a deep dive into candidate profiles to view everything from campaign budgets to their voting history. And like Tinder, you can swipe left and right to save them to your ballot. Take that with a grain of salt, okay? But you can save them to your ballot. Voters can also view their polling location and get access to an auto-generated checklist to prepare for the elections. At any time, they can edit their sign-up survey so that it fits their current views. And outside of elections, you can participate in gamified polling and other civic engagement tasks. So you may be asking, is there a market for this, and why now? Based off of 2020 elections, about $16.9 billion was spent on campaign outreach. And just in the state of Michigan, where I currently live, campaign outreach reached about $533 million. And if I target 46% of Wayne County with the launch of my beta, it will bring me to $245 million. And just to make this a little bit more clear, by 2036, millennials and Generation Zers will make up 55% of the total voter population. And by 2028, millennials by themselves will surpass boomers by double margins. So that brings us to our business model. Pogo supports politicians and organizations in building data-driven campaigns and polls using our tools. We have 3 main revenue streams that consist of a live polling database, a campaign builder and engagement tool, and lastly, an opportunity for in-app non-intrusive political ads. Our 3-tier campaign builder is currently starting off with a free trial and accounts for campaign reach. Candidates and organizations can upgrade at any point to get engagement add-ons as well as access to voter metrics. In terms of our other revenue streams, such as polling, according to the national average, we can get anywhere from $20,000 to $25,000 for a 15-minute survey as long as we reach 800 respondents. We are currently building our beta through a partnership with Wayne State University in Detroit, and we are going to hit the ground running with market adoption. Through partnerships with civic engagement tools, state and local governments, and social media influencers, as well as events so we can meet our voters and politicians where they are, and then, of course, building a strong community through social media. In terms of our competitors, we are a mobile-first platform. We allow voters to store their decisions directly in our app, and we take a personalized approach to voting, which makes us an all-in-one hub for your voting information. Why now? In 2020, we saw a 266% increase of millennials running for office, and this number is only going up. And on the spending side, in Chicago mayoral election, we saw across 14 candidates from 2018, we saw $38 million spent on ads targeting young voters. So that brings us to my team. Again, I am a creative designer and techie with 4 years of UX design experience, and together my team has over 14 years of coding experience. Our skills vary from product management and project management to branding and design. We are also supported by our advisor, Brian Palmer, who is the Partner Integrations Manager at Nation Builder, and we are looking for more people. So, for our future roadmap, over the next 3 to 4 months, we, like I said before, have begun building our beta app. And we hope to launch our beta app in April through a paid pilot in Detroit. Our ask. We are seeking $50,000 pre-seed for product and business development, as well as opportunities for strategic partnerships and advisors. So if you want to learn more, please scan this QR code to sign up for our beta waitlist, as well as reach out to me. I'll be sitting all the way back there in the corner. And thank you again. My name is Arabia, and I'm the founder of Pogo, and we are informing the next generation of politics. Cool. Now I have the honor of introducing my friend, who is an attorney as well as a peace warrior, June Benjamin, representing Peace IQ.
Hi, my name is June Benjamin, and I am the founder of Peace IQ. What happens when diversity initiatives leads to more conflict? Let's say you work at a company and a manager wants to lead a DEI talk on how racial and religious discrimination at work is impacting her and her community. But another group is saying that this talk impacts and is offensive to their religion and makes them feel unsafe at work. You now have a socio-political religious war in your workforce. This exact scenario happened at Google last year. How did Google respond? How did they resolve this? They just canceled the talk. And employees decided to quit and take the fight and take the fight to every global major news source. Not only did Google make the wrong decision, they made an unintelligent one. I don't mean brain intelligence or business intelligence, but peace intelligence, or what I call Peace IQ. Peace IQ is the ability to make informed decisions from data across diverse teams in order to peacefully resolve conflict and build sustainable cooperation. We are confronted with a workforce that is ready to take on challenges that impact their individual diversity as well as their communities. Here's the thing though, diversity doesn't actually create conflict, but rather the rapid increase of a diverse and socially invested workforce has exposed the fragility of conflict resolution systems and methodologies in work ecosystems. Think about it. Have you ever received even a basic training on peace and conflict resolution? Over 85% of employees experience conflict at work, and yet 60% have said they have never been taught on how to resolve them. Unresolved conflict was already costing US companies billions of dollars every year in employment litigation, retention loss, and $360 billion in the loss of productivity due to employees who chose to disengage from any form of meaningful contribution in order to protect their own peace. We can't afford this. Not only is this a multi-billion-dollar business case, but we need socially invested and diverse teams to solve for the global challenges ahead of us. UN peace scientists have already identified that businesses that advance peace are one of our most powerful tools in order to build sustainable and resilient communities, even in the face of war, climate change, and socio-political upheaval. As a survivor of the Liberian Civil War, I call myself a peace warrior because I am both an attorney that fights for peace, and I am also someone who has a master's in peace and conflict resolution. And what I have learned is that when you make peace measurable, you can make it attainable and valuable. I am now leading a team of peace technologists that are setting out to build an interactive training platform to teach skills like peace building, peace engineering, conflict resolution, nonviolent communications, and conflict prevention. Peace IQ is designed for both individuals and organizations. Learners on our platform will discover their Peace IQ by testing for their skills, their attributes, as well as their knowledge. They will then engage in simulated challenges across company and community relationships. All learners on our platform get access to on-screen dashboards that provide them actionable insights on how to turn their peace data into real-world decision-making. They can then track those decisions in the app to continuously improve their active Peace IQ score. Our premium model offers companies the ability to have a collective peace score. We also offer companies recruitment capabilities as well as actionable insights that makes Peace IQ a powerful tool for HR departments to build and retain a sustainable future workforce. Companies are already heavily investing in new skills for a new world. Peace IQ is uniquely positioned for success. Not only are we the only app-based solution on the market, we are the only solution that has access to proprietary data standards developed by leading peace behavioral technologists at Stanford and The Hague. We will initially target companies that are already heavily investing in interpersonal skills because they already know that they have to be ready to show up and attract the workforce of the future. Our success with our initial market will position us to be able to advance peace as a #1 skill in a $360 billion reskill revolution. We are already on the ground working with high schools and universities, teaching them peace skills. This means that Peace IQ's designs are driven and tested by both Gen Z and millennials, who will make up almost the entire workforce by 2025. This also means that companies such as these that partner with us now, that invest in us now, will be able to connect their pipeline needs to a network of job seekers that are highly proficient in peace. We are looking to raise $1 million to build our MVP, as well as to hire engineers and designers that are dedicated to helping us solve for peace. Connect with us at Peace IQ and help us to build the future. Thank you. And now I would like for us to give a warm welcome to the Managing Director of our incubator, Dan Barker.
Thank you so much, June. Can we get another round of applause for these amazing founders? I know I'm the guy standing between you and a drink, so I will keep it short, but please allow me just a moment to beam. These founders have really shown us what a future could look like. We call them future builders because we know that they are committed to a vision of a world in which we are more prosperous, more equitable, more inclusive, and we know that they are working towards that future every day. We are so grateful to them for allowing us to share in their journey. As many of you know, Halcyon has a practice of gratitude. It's something that we do here every single week. And so I want to say first and foremost, thank you for the work that you're doing, for coming and joining our community. We are so grateful for this opportunity to lift up your work and to see where you're going to go next. And of course, we're grateful to everybody in this room for joining us. We couldn't leave this room, though, without a call to action. Just like our founders have a call for action for all of you, we have one too. You see that there are tables in the back. We would love for you to take the time to connect with our fellows, share your wisdom, share your connections. If you brought a checkbook, you can share that too. And we also encourage you to join the Halcyon community. Find one of us who are a member of staff, chat with us about how you can contribute, how you can support this amazing work. And again, I want to say thank you to our sponsors, our partners, Bank of America, MetLife Foundation, Henry Luce Foundation, Amazon Web Services, and Baker Bots. We couldn't do this work alone. We couldn't create the community, the space, and the access that we need to lift up our founders without all of your incredible support. So with that, I want to say cheers to our fellows, and let's go have a drink.